come and they took him. He said, why? He said, Chaldeans made out 3 bands and fell upon the camels. How many camels did he have? 3,000 camels. They stole every single one that he had and run off with them. Took them all. They slayed everybody that was there with the camels except for me. I come to tell you about it. Then he began to tell him about, there was another one came and said, hey, your children were having a party down here in the house. Some kind of party. And all of a sudden, a big old wind come through. And it smoked the corners of the house. Sounds like a tornado come through. And it tore down the house and fell upon them and killed every one of your children. You've lost 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, men and women that work for you that have been killed, slain, and now every one of your 10 children are dead. I can imagine Satan said, and he said, it's coming any time now. Right now is when he's fixing to light the good Lord up and just tell him all about everything and curse him, and I'll show the Lord now. Said Job arose, he rent his mantle, shaved his head, fell down upon the ground, and he did what? He worshiped. I can just imagine us. I'd be walking around, oh Lord, I'd be in any type of frame of mind, but worship. I just lost all this stuff. My kids are gone. Everything that I got is gone. But he said he fell upon his face and he worshipped. And he said, naked I came out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return thither. The Lord gave, and the Lord hath taken away, and blessed be the name of the Lord. Amen. Blessed be his name. And every bit of this, Job did not sin, nor charged God foolishly. What's that mean, preacher? Did he not charge God? Because he didn't blame God. You know, so many times nowadays, what's the first thing we want to do? The devil puts in our mind to do. Blame God. God, why did you let this happen? Why did you allow this to happen, God? Why did you do this to me? Again, how do I know that? How do I know those thoughts? Because I thought those thoughts. Times that I said, God, look, God, I've done what I thought you wanted me to do. I've tried, I've prayed, I've done everything, but God, why? But Job never charged God foolishly. Not one time did he sin. Not one time through it all. He kept the faith. All good things come from God. All good things. We think that all the wonderful things. God had provided all this stuff for me. Now all of a sudden it's gone. Like I said, a lot of people will be ready to just go, slip my wrist, I'm leaving here. I'm done. I lost it all. You know, I mentioned from time to time Robin Williams, and it's just really, you know, I watched this guy through the years. This guy seemed to have everything. Popularity, had money, had fame, had it all. People laughed at him. People liked to be around him. He cheered folks up. Everything was going great for him. And then he got to the point, a secret, a thing in people didn't realize in his life, he battled depression. He battled that voice that told him, this is what you need to do. And you know, I had read here not too long ago, some of his friends were saying, you know, he was depressed and he was downtrodden because of his finances. I'm thinking, he had a $6 million house in San Francisco. $6 million. He had a house in a ranch someplace. He had movies coming out. He had all this stuff in it. I said that he was distressed over money. You know, I might have $6 in my pocket. Afraid I can get to McDonald's. But $6 million house, got all this stuff, and he was depressed, and he was downtrodden, and his out was to take his life. But you know, not one time did Job say, well, I'm going to end it all because I've lost everything. But Job was determined, and he said, I'm going to worship you, and then move on. I'll try to hurry. He moved on. Not one foolishly. Let's move on to chapter 2. Things get even worse. It gets more interesting right here. So again, there was a day when the sons of God came to them and present themselves, and Satan come again, present himself before the Lord. And the Lord again said, Satan, where are you been? He said, going to and fro, walking up and down. And the Lord said, have you considered my servant Job? And he began to, all this stuff, this and that. And Satan answered the Lord and said, skin for skin, yea, that all the man hath will he give for his life. But put forth thy hand now and touch his bone and his flesh. Afflict him, if you will, and he'll curse you. He didn't after you took his family, all of his possessions, all of his wealth, everything that he's had. But I guarantee you, if you will afflict his health, he'll tell you now. Now, when we get sick, and when we got affliction on us, when you get in enough pain, sometimes you say a lot of things, don't you? You know, I've been there. I had open heart surgery in 2008. And, the pain of all the sawing and separating and all that stuff, that was pretty bad. When I woke up, I thought, man, there's somebody run over me. But that wasn't near. About 2 days later, when I got sick on hydrocodone and morphine, that's a good combination. I got so sick that I thought, oh, man, I'm going to die. I told my wife, I said, I'm dying. Didn't know what it was, but I realized later after they got me off of the morphine and I quit seeing everything moving and the dragons and the snakes. I got off of that stuff and I got off that hydrocodone that was making me deathly sick. But you know what? I got to the point I said, Lord, I'm dying. What in the world's going on? But the devil said, hey, if you'll just let me afflict you, this is when it's going to come. What happens? What happens to him? Let's go on. It wasn't bad enough that he lost all his children, all his possessions, all his wealth. Since Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord and smote Job with sore boils from the sole of his foot unto his crown. Now, we ain't talking about skeeter bites. Anybody here ever had a boil in their life? I ain't seen one of them in years. That used to be an occurrence way back. Never had one that I know of in my life, but I've seen one or two. And I tell you what, when I see them out, people's like, oh, this is awful. Don't touch nothing. Don't let nothing touch. Don't even breathe on it. And it said here that Job was afflicted from the sole of his feet unto his crown, from head to toe. And he took him a post shed to scrape himself with, and he sat down among the ashes. And the final blow was this. Then said his wife unto him, dost thou still retain thine integrity? Curse God and die. Look at you. Look what's happened. But here's what he said. Thou speakest as one of the foolish women speaketh. What? Shall we receive good at the hand of God? Shall we not receive evil? And all this did Job did not sin with his lips. He said, you speak as a foolish woman. What do you mean? His health was gone. He was there in obvious pain, excruciating pain. And his wife, the last earthly thing that he had, his companion, walked up and said, Job, why don't you just curse God and die? But he refused to do it. He held on. He looked at his God. He said, you speak as a foolish woman. We can only have that faith and determination